49ers Mailbag coming your way on the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. Do you want to bet on football games? We'll get you hooked up with our sportsbook partner, chatsports.com/49bet is the link you have to use to go to BetUS. Enter that promo code Niners125. You get a 125% deposit bonus. Start off this mailbag with this question coming in from KKV. Who are some players the Niners might have a chance to trade for? Man, I said this earlier, but I think a player like Darius Slay, a very overpaid and highly compensated cornerback with the Philadelphia Eagles, players like that could be on the trade market at a position of need for San Francisco. Let's say the Eagles continue to be a very, very bad team like they displayed on Monday Night Football in that disastrous loss against the Dallas Cowboys. Could Darius Slay be made available if the Eagles are like, you know what, we got to rebuild, and it doesn't make sense to pay Darius Slay like a top 5 cornerback, which he is paid like right now. Maybe a guy like that could be available. Christopher Vigil, should the 49ers sign Todd Gurley? No chance. Todd Gurley is way washed, and he's been washed for a very long time. It's unfortunate how quickly his career kind of fell apart. He got that bag from the Rams, was an MVP candidate. Then those knee injury issues, where there were some concerns about that at Georgia, started to resurface again. He's never been the same. So this is a Niners organization that's been haunted by injuries. You don't need any more injuries. Todd Gurley has been injury prone. GamerDude, one of my biggest fans. Thank you for your support, man. How many snaps do you think Trey Lance is going to get against the Seahawks? I hope he gets 10 to 15. If Kyle Shanahan is smart, he'll give Trey Lance at least 10 to 15 snaps. That's my early read on that situation. Alfredo Hernandez, we need to wake up the defensive line. I feel like they're not producing. I actually disagree. Week 1, 30 defensive line pressures against the Detroit Lions. Week 2, they had about the same against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, in Week 3, the Green Bay Packers did some things that I don't think the Niners were expecting. In years past, the Niners defensive line has dominated and taken over games because they were so physical, and the Packers really matched up 1-for-1 against the Niners defensive front. They made some adjustments in Week 3 in Sunday Night Football, though. They were chipping Nick Bosa all night, as well as Eric Armstead. So that's why the D-line, after those first couple of drives, wasn't able to get home. I'd like to see the Niners combat that with their own adjustments, though. They do have to be better than they were in Week 3. There's no question. Chris Johnson, should the 49ers trade for Trey Flowers? Maybe he can make the secondary better. Niner gang. So Trey Flowers has really fallen out of favor in Seattle. He's basically not getting a lot of snaps. People are shredding him to pieces with how he has played when he has been on the field. This is a guy who at one point was a very, very good cornerback, and people are saying, you're expecting me to be Richard Sherman. I'm not that. So he's self-admitting that I guess he's not really a premier player. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in Seattle. You know what that's good news for? It's good news for the Niners offense to exploit and attack that Seahawks secondary. Hopefully they can go after a guy like Trey Flowers. Now, Trey Flowers is a guy with some ability. He has shown that in the past. He can be a pretty solid player. Maybe he becomes available in a trade, but I always get curious about inter-division trades. Would Seattle want to give up Trey Flowers to a division rival in San Francisco? Oftentimes that doesn't happen because, you know, these general managers don't always get along in that regard with inter-division trades. So the thought process of that does sound somewhat smart, but I don't think it's realistic. I do want you to get into the comment section, though, and give me a realistic cornerback option you want the 49ers to go after, whether that be an NFL free agency, maybe like a Richard Sherman. Maybe it is a trade going after a premier cornerback out there on the open market. These guys are highly compensated for a reason, so you'll have to swallow a large salary, but name a cornerback you want the Niners to go after. Wet Noodle 187, what's up, my homie? Are you more scared of Wilson's arm or his legs? I'm scared of both because he can hurt you with both. And I think somehow Russell Wilson over time has become criminally underrated. I mean, he's never received the vote for MVP, which I think is crazy. He's never lost or won less than 9 games in a single year since he came into the league. This is a guy who's a great leader. He's a bona fide winner. I think he throws one of, if not the best deep balls of anybody out there because of the touch that he throws on that moon ball. So I'm scared of Russell Wilson as a whole, not just his arm, not just his legs, the both aspects of it as a player because, man, he is so dangerous. Alpha Doctor 20, do you think the D-line will generate more pressure? They have to. They have to generate more pressure. But the tricky thing is, when you go up against Russell Wilson, you really have to be disciplined in your pass rush because if you overcommit and get past Russell Wilson as he's dropping back in the pocket, that's when he shreds you. That's when he steps up and runs. That's when he escapes right or left to extend plays with those back-breaking deep balls downfield that you think that you have the pressure on lock. You think that you have the receivers locked down, but then he kind of just extends the play and breaks your back with those momentum-changing plays. Now, that's why there's so much pressure on this defensive line to be much better and generate pressure. But keep Russell Wilson in the pocket because if you overcommit, man, he'll just really burn you. I think I'm going to bet Niners -3 on Sunday. Call me a homer if you want, but I got hooked up with BetUS and that 125% deposit bonus, which is a no-brainer. You can get hooked up too by going to chatsports.com/49bet and entering the promo code Niners125. What all of this means is you put $100 into your account, you get an additional $125 back. It's $225 to game with. And maybe like me, you want to take the Niners -3. That over-under for Sunday's game at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara set at 52. I expect that number to change just a bit. I'm not sure how much that spread is going to change because since the Niners are the home team, it's easy to see why they are favorites with Seattle coming off that 2-point loss. But once again, get hooked up. Chatsports.com/49bet. Enter the promo code Niners125. It's the best deal out there from any sportsbook. Shiner 49er. I like the ring to that. Might have to do something with that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Shiner beer is also pretty solid. It's a Texas special. Is it getting to the point where Trey Lance should just start to make the offense more explosive? I think there's no question. If you've been watching me here on the channel, I've outlined this a lot. And I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm not sure if anybody has heard what I've said before. I think Trey Lance can add a completely different dynamic to this offense because of his dual threat ability, because of his arm strength, his athletic ability, his ability to run the football. Like, you can take the top off of the defense. He can complete any throw on the field. He makes the offense less predictable because you don't know if he's going to pull it down and run it or chuck it. And I think he would make this offense so much more explosive. So I think it is getting to the point where Trey Lance should definitely play more. Stop worrying about Jimmy Garoppolo's feelings. He's been shaky at times. That drive late against the Packers was impressive, but I got to see Trey Lance play more. There's no doubt. Wet Noodle 187 with this question. If we had Newman and Williams, you think Rodgers still makes that game-winning drive? Yeah, so you're saying Josh Norman and K'Wan Williams. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, look. Was the defense ideal in that type of situation when you gave up 2 big plays to Devontae Adams that led to that game-winning field goal? It wasn't totally ideal. But at the same time, like, sometimes you just have to give credit to where credit is due and just own up to the fact that Aaron Rodgers is great, and he's a future Hall of Famer for a reason. He's a reigning MVP for a reason. He's the one who's dropping balls in a bucket. So if they're on the field, do they make a difference? Potentially, but I think that's just Rodgers doing what he does, and that's him being great. The Mexican with this question. What are the good corners floating out there? Well, Richard Sherman is still out there on the open market. I would have loved for the Niners to make a trade for C.J. Henderson. Panthers able to get him for a tight end as well as a third-round pick. Darius Slay could be a trade target as well. So those are the types of cornerbacks that you're looking at. Quentin Dunbar just signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Those are the types of players that you do want to go after via trade or in the free agency market. Alpha Doctor 20, what do you think about trying Boss on the interior? You mean Bosa, who is a boss, by the way, because he's been playing really good football so far this year. So I don't hate when defensive coordinators mix and match with using their edge rushers on the edge, but also inside, because that generates mismatches. And you're able to get those mismatches in your favor. And I think Nick Bosa lined up over guards and centers would be able to just bulldoze those guys. Now, of course, his strength and where you want him primarily is on the edge so that he can use his speed and his moves to get on the outer part of that tackle to make those sacks. But at times, situationally, do you want to use him in the interior? I don't hate that idea. Venom, bringing the heat. How do you think the 49ers are going to play this next game against the Sea Chickens? I expect them to play well. I think there was a moment of realization that the Niners kind of choked that game away from a couple of different standpoints. Kyle Shanahan has said that 4th and 1 from midfield was a disastrous decision. That's something that he wants back. I think Kyle Shanahan probably realizes these slow starts cannot continue because it hinders us and causes us to climb out of a hole. I think Shanahan realizes maybe I should play Trey Lance a little bit more. Jimmy Garoppolo probably realizes I got to be better to start games. So I think when the pressure is on, I want to see this team rise to the occasion against Seattle, and I expect them to do so. Couple more questions to get to. Stupid Monkey 121 with this one. Trade Jimmy G for Stephon Gilmore. You know what? That's actually an interesting scenario. Like, could you see New England trading Stephon Gilmore, who's disgruntled, unhappy with his contract situation, for Jimmy G? Now, before the season, I could have seen it happening. Now, probably not, because you don't want to damage the confidence or take away the experience from Mac Jones, who obviously you have a lot invested in. That's why you took him in the first round. And Jimmy Garoppolo would probably be the starter ahead of Mac Jones if you make that deal, trading away a premier player like Stephon Gilmore. So a few months ago, I think that'd be pretty interesting with maybe a couple more players involved. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. Joe Evans, I want Trey to start, but I think it starts when you said versus the Bears. So previously, I've said week 8. Maybe that's when you see Trey Lance finally start for San Francisco. I'm kind of sticking with that. I think there's a reason why Trey Lance hasn't started. It's because the coaching staff doesn't think he's ready. But man, when he's on the field, he's already made special plays happen. He's touched the ball only a couple of times. Week 1, throws a touchdown pass. Week 3, has that run right before the half against Green Bay for the tutty. The Mexican with another question. I love my team, man. I truly do. But any chance we get Xavien Howard? I thought you were about to admit that like something bad was going to happen with how you started that question. No, I don't think Xavien Howard is on the trade market. I think him and the Dolphins have come to an agreement that they want to further their partnership, and they worked out that contract snafu with the guaranteed money there. So I don't think Howard is on the market right now. GamerDude, what is your favorite 49ers player? Right now, Fred Warner, because I love watching him roam sideline to sideline. Sometimes I don't even watch the ball. I just watch him play. All time, Jerry Rice. I've told this story a couple times. When I was like 5, 6 years old, I popped in a VHS tape of off-season workouts and the history of the NFL. And one of the first clips in that VHS tape was Jerry Rice just running through the hills in California. Desert heat. Heart of the summer, sweating his ass off, getting that off-season workout in, and I got a lot of respect for Jerry Rice. So he's my favorite player of all time. GamerDude, Chase Sr. is the GOAT, and he is the best channel. I'm not necessarily a channel. I am just the leader of the channel and a leader of the Niner gang. Thank you, GamerDude, for always tuning in, always supporting the show. You're one of our loyal watchers. I have certainly taken notice of that. All right, we've talked a lot about this game throughout our live show and in this mailbag. Predict the score between the Seahawks and the 49ers on Sunday. We'll be doing another watch party for it here. Niners are 3-point favorites, over/under set at 52. Get into the comment section right now, predict the score, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, because when we go live for our watch party on Sunday, when we come out with the breaking news video within an hour of that news happening, when we hit you with the latest news and rumors, this is your go-to spot. 41,000 subscribers and counting. Subscribe to the channel. Be a part of the Niner Faithful.